Hi, this is a hand-spun Navajo plied, that's a 3-ply, from fiber from maryjanesattic.net. I hand-spun this and then decided I would make a bias strip. And now I'm all done. And this bias strip is going to be a steering wheel cover. And you can see all the beautiful greens that Mary Jane dyed into the fiber. This one was a lot of fun to spin. I hadn't spun it in a really long time. And it came out really nice and fluffy and a little bit thick and thin. I hadn't gotten my spinning skills entirely back yet. And there's the ball of yarn up here, the remaining ball of yarn. And you can see it's a little amateurish, a little thick and thin, but sometimes that's a nice effect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring the two ends together, the active stitches, the live stitches, and the cast on edge. Now you can do this cast on edge as either a crochet chain provisional cast on, but in this case I just picked up loops from the cast on edge. And for a bias, to make the seam, the two needles are pointing in opposite directions. You wouldn't try to attach it. I don't know how to explain that, but this is the way that it attaches. So we're going to do a 3-needle bind off, but instead of a third needle, I'm going to use a crochet hook. Your active yarn is at the back, and you're going to hook the needle through the first stitch of the front needle. In this case, this is that cast on edge. Through the first stitch of the back needle, take your active yarn, wind it around, pull the loop through, and then let those two stitches drop off the edge. Now you want to mind your tension here. Don't be too tight. I'm using a smaller needle because it's easier to get in through this kind of splitty ply. Smaller hook. So I've got one loop of the bind off here. We're going to take the next two stitches, repeat that same, first through the first needle, next stitch, next through the next stitch on the back needle, pull the loop through, and then pull it off. And then you're going to take this and pull it through like a slip stitch crochet. Then you're going to repeat the action, slip those two off. Again, minding your tension. Mind your tension this whole time because you don't want your seam to draw up tight. And then through these two again. And watching your tension, making sure that all looks really good, pretty even. And through again. It's kind of a thick part of the thick and thin yarn. Pull it through. Loop it through. Keep going. Oops, there's the dog. Something's upsetting him, probably the wind blowing. And keep going. This is only 26 stitches wide. So this is a fairly fast, if I'm not, slowing down for the camera, fairly fast chain that I'm making. Keep going.
They've seen it. Speed up.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even know about that. Yeah, thank you. You're right. Well, I like to, just in case. That way people don't have to rewind, but you're right. I can go faster. So we keep going. Minding your tension. Mind your tension. Still looks pretty good. Doesn't look like it's puckering any, so that's the important thing. You want it to not lie nice and flat. And don't lose any stitches when you let them go off the end of the needle. This one had, because of the fluffiness of it, it has a nice stretch to it. Oh, see, I split the ply there, so be real careful with that. And keep going. And make sure that you don't get all twisted up like I just did. Almost to the end. Oops. Once again, splitty ply, be careful. through. Almost done. I know I keep saying that. We really are almost done. And we're down to 3 on either side. Two. And the last one. I managed to hook this, goodness. There and there. Pull it through. I can remove those needles. Pull that through, and now I'm going to cut this yarn and pull it through the last stitch. Now this is on the, probably would have looked better, frankly, if I'd done a provisional cast on, but you can see it's still pretty good. And that's the right side, and that's the wrong side. And that's how you do a 3 needle bind off with a crochet hook instead of a 3rd needle. Thanks a bunch.